But that's a major issue with the broader problem with like when these liberals and like sort of the liberal left try to meme is the fact that they sort of it's forced, because it's like forced fun, like you said last episode.
Yeah,
like
the mandatory forced fun.
Yeah,
thing.
they put the politics before the meme. Whereas if you see in some of the more successful memes from the right wing, the meme actually comes before the politics. And the thing about memes, like I said, is that there's a certain element of synchronicity that makes a meme. This thing that sort of arises organically and then like becomes part of the collective unconscious. And it brings me to the "they can't stop us all" meme, which was another really popular meme of last year with the whole Area 51 thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, they can't stop us all, blah, blah, blah. We're going to storm Area 51. And it sort of made me think about like how the postmodern paradigm has affected the way that we organize politically around ideas, because "they can't stop us all" is just sort of a sentiment. It's a meme that sort of spread, but then it managed to get people from all kinds of different ideological places gathered around this meme. Like there were people who were like conspiracy theorists, there were people who just wanted to fuck the aliens, believe it or not. There were people who
played Mass Effect. Aliens can be attractive.
And they just wanted to see the fucking technology from their video games, like IRL. And then it gathered all these different people, and it kind of reminded me of like the Max Stirner. How do you pronounce his name? Max Stirner. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. The Union of Egoists, because you have all these people who are non-ideological or from different ideologies gathered around this shared goal of exposing what's happening in this specific place. And that's sort of how I feel like a lot of political action in the future is going to be. It's going to not be centered on ideology. It's going to be centered around shared sentiments. And I feel like that's part of the reason why the left kind of rejected they can't stop us all meme and made fun of it. And like, you know, because the left has this like huge fear of non-ideological spaces, because then you can't really purity test people about what they believe if you're just sort of in the same space as them for like a shared goal. So yeah, I thought it was really interesting.
I think one of the biggest reasons that the left rejected that meme, and it was kind of a big deal to reject as well, because that sentiment of "they can't stop us all" is like that's like a super revolutionary and like powerful fucking sentiment, that if you manage to really ride that wave, like that could bring about fucking change like none other.
Yeah,
man. Like,
I mean, you could easily transmit a lot of things over that.
Yeah,
there was actually some of that vibe during the protests too. They can't stop.
You can't stop us all.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then they subsumed it pretty bad, but
because can I just add one thing? The collective unconscious keeps sort of spitting out these things for us to use, but we keep rejecting them. So it's not as if those...
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not as if those serendipities or synchronicities don't arrive at our doorstep. They do all the time, but we just don't take the opportunity. Same thing with the Joker as well, I think.
But I think they specifically rejected the Area 51 "they can't stop us all" moment, because it's a constant fear to not appear intelligent. And if you sort of even entertain the idea of this ridiculous story of Area 51, aliens, blah, 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 then of course no one's going to take you seriously as a very deep, thoughtful intellectual on the left and this and that. So how could you possibly entertain Area 51? And "they can't stop us all." Yes, but that's not what Marx was talking about. They didn't talk about the Greys. And it's just like...
When he was talking about exchange values and use values, and the labor theory of value, and all of these things, this has nothing to do with Area 51 or strange conspiracy theories.
That's what I mean when I say we've surrendered all of our archetypal power, because within the whole alien sort of paradigm lies so much archetypal power that's deeply rooted to the paranoia and insecurity that people feel around politics.
Exactly. Like that, I feel like wasn't just about aliens, because although obviously that is the central topic of that meme, it's also just tell us what you fucking know. We know you know shit that we don't know, and we want to know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Like that is the feeling I feel like a lot of people...
It's literally collective power.
Yeah.
The meme is literally collective power.
Yeah.
There is no other way to interpret it. They can't stop us all. That's the point.
I feel like the same thing with Szechuan Gate, which was another meme that was political that came as like this sort of protest movement. Because Szechuan Gate was sort of this protest of capitalism promises me that I can have the thing that I want. And it's not giving me the fucking thing that I want.
And they stocked 2 fucking things of the sauce in every other fucking McDonald's that they said they'd have. And it is like 2 per state, 2 fucking packets.
I'm this alienated, atomized consumer. I've given away basically all of my, freedom and all of my ability to self-actualize in order to sort of live in this cushy consumer bubble. And you're telling me that you can't even provide me with fucking Szechuan sauce? I'm Pickle Rick.
Look, I've said this to you several
Hey, Morty, I turned myself into a pickle.
I've said this to you several times, but the lack of Szechuan sauce at that moment and the lack of GTA 6 show that capitalism is not an efficient fucking supply and demand system.
It's a fucking line.
It's a bullshit fucking line.
Jake would be one of the people at Szechuan protests if he was in.
But, I mean, if you follow the thought train of the Area 51 thing, it's like, it's not even that crazy. So it really did disappoint me that, like, people didn't really hop onto it, because take away all the aliens. Literally, just actually put that scenario of they can't stop us all, and there's like 100,000 people marching towards that fucking area, S4, where Bob Lazar was. Like, they literally couldn't. You could literally fucking live stream the whole thing, and it would be beyond fucking mind-blowing. Even if it was all bullshit and there was nothing there, then, like, fucking, so what?
Yeah.
Even
just a bunch of paperwork and, like, guys that do the paperwork.
But then the very fact that you have just gone and taken over the most top secret military base on American soil, like that as a collective, then, like, the realization of that, surely, like, there's all these, like,
shit, the elite don't actually have to rule over us. Fuck. Yeah. We could actually take things from them if we wanted to.
Exactly. And so, like, that's kind of how I saw that, as well as obviously the hopeful of, like, hey, we could storm in and see those 9 craft Bob Lazar talked about. But
yeah.
Maybe also just the idea that we could all collectivize and show that we could actually we want to know, so we're going to decide that, and we're going to take that, and you can't fucking decide that. Like, that's a really powerful thing.
Well, I mean, here's the problem with that meme, though, is that it doesn't have, like, 6 different walls of texts at different angles.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God.
Actually, it's actually a leftist meme in and of itself, that leftist memes are always extremely wordy and incomprehensible. So.
They're just like walls and walls and walls of text about people I hate.
Wait, is that
and here's
part of the source of one of the Chad memes of, like, the guy that's frustrated with all the loads of text? Isn't that kind of not part of, like, to depict, like, them as
but even
the
those,
left
like,
and
even
the Chad
that,
as the right?
So
the
you know what
versions
Jake
of
is
those, like, they're like one line of text or a term.
But what Jake is referring to is the yes Chad meme, which is where somebody comes over and is like, you did this thing that's wrong, and then the Chad is like, yes, and, like, what they're saying is convoluted and long, whereas the Chad just says yes, and there's this sort of power to just sort of, like, yes. And, like, that's kind of what the left is doing. That's how our memes work. We're the ones that are like, meh, 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 and everyone else in the world is just like, yes. And I noticed this thing is that the liberal left and libs, they love to dunk on right-wingers, but then everybody across the political spectrum loves dunking on liberals. Yes. And I remember yesterday I was scolded by a very prominent slideshow creator for being for talking about the failures of the liberal left too much and not doing enough to talk about the right wing. And it's like is already an entire industrial complex that's rooted around scolding right-wing people and dunking on them. But then again, everybody who isn't a liberal hates liberals. So why would I throw my eggs in that basket? Like, I'd rather do the thing.
That's why the right has done so much to define liberals as the left.
As the left.
I get DMs like that quite a bit as well. Like, why as a communist or as a Marxist would you focus on liberals who are technically, I guess, closer to us in terms of ideology?
No,
and it's like, I really don't believe that. I don't. Because, like, I actually feel like, to some degree, like with a Trump voter and me being like wanting to vote for Bernie, I can see why we would have more in common than me and someone who wanted to vote for Hillary, personally, because the Trump voter voted for Trump because he wasn't like other politicians. That's why I wanted to vote for Bernie. I'm not interested in politicians. I'm not interested in electoralism most of the time, but Bernie interested me because he was something different. And that's how a lot of Trump voters think too. They weren't engaged in politics until they saw someone that felt like closer to them
tearing shit up at the debates.
It's true. It's 100% true. But that's the thing. Another thing that I've noticed as well is that the left memers, not only are they really convoluted and don't actually understand what the point of memes is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a succinct image or phrase that sort of sums up really huge ideas in this sort of like distilled form. But they also tend to take the memes that are created by people like the incels, like the whole Chad virgin thing is an incel meme. Mm-hmm. And they're memes that are created by people who are psychologically dysfunctional. And then the left then projects more of its psychological dysfunction onto this psychologically dysfunctional meme and ends up spreading more misery across into the ether, basically. Just more misery and dysfunction. And a lot of the memes, like the specific one that we were talking about is one that's been circulating recently, where it's like the Bernie bro, the tanky, the woke scold, and then the proper real leftist, which is kind of the structure of the meme. So it's like everyone's a virgin except me, I'm the Chad kind of meme. And it looks
except for me.
Yeah, and it's like walls and walls of text about why everybody's bad except me, why I'm good, blah blah blah. But you know what it kind of reminded me of? You know those like weird like cutout notes that like serial killers make? Like those weird like you know, where they like make collages from magazines, basically, like you can tell that kind of unsettling, uncanny feeling that you can tell this is coming from a disordered consciousness. Like this is coming from someone who's not like okay, basically.
These are all the phonies and this is why they're all phony.
It's like a Holton from Catcher in the Rye vibe.
This is why I'm pure.
It gives me the heebie-jeebies when I see a lot of these memes, because I'm like, this is coming from pure pathology, like making a list of your like the people that you hate. Like it's weird. And yeah, like there is that weird thing where the memes that come from these really really disordered, atomized communities, whether it be the red pill people or the incels or these really dark sort of underbellies, are then adopted by the left, rather than us trying to sort of make things that wake people up, shake people out of there, or bring people out of the spectacle or make them feel more empowered. We're basically spreading these like sort of viral pathologies around as if they're supposed to convey our political message accurately, which I also find like really, really strange.
Well, I mean, they use enough text that it probably is accurate, to be fair.
It is
but
really bad.
at least accurate to what they're trying to say. But yeah, nobody cares. That's the big problem.
Yeah.
Like whenever I see a meme that's like mostly words, I'm like, huh?
I love them. Like I actually really like wordy memes. Like I just like to waste time. That's why. I really do.
You're just stoked
Ashleigh,
about
I
like, while away the hours, conferring with the flowers.
I think
that's how you consume memes. You're the scarecrow singing.
This will be some member berries for you, Ashleigh. If you like the wordy memes, you probably like the 4chan stories that ended in 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's all do the dinosaur. Like,
yes.
That was my biggest waste of time, was literally just reading, like, entire, basically novellas of, like, stories of just ridiculous shit happening, and then the last paragraph all rhyming for it to then end with 1, 2, 3, 4. We all did the dinosaur. And you're just like, holy shit, this was just such a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy, though, because, like, yeah, we don't have that sort of mimetic power. Like I said, and we kind of reject every single opportunity or synchronicity that presents us with like a meme that could actually be useful. Because there are some really interesting memes that are going on out there that are, because memes aren't only just these images and phrases, they can also be like behaviors or social like affects that people do in real life and stuff. And there's this really interesting, there's this really interesting thing that's going on at the moment called Randonautica. It's like an app that someone invented. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I played it when I was in Scotland.
Oh, you did Randonautica.
I had the craziest Randonautica experience.
Oh, wow.
My brother, his sister, and me, we all went out to like kind of make a day of it, because like I'm not a believer in it or anything. Like I'm not typically a believer in stuff like that, but we were watching like TikTok compilations of all the spooky stuff that's been happening on the app. So we were like, okay, let's waste a day, like go out. And it was pouring of rain, so we were like soaking wet as well. And we got one that was about 5 minutes away, which was in this like wooded area that is in the middle of my village. That's kind of like tucked away. It's sort of like a walking spot. So we're there, or at least like very close by, and my brother is like, oh, this is actually the area where my friend buried his dog. And my brother was super close to this dog. They had been kind of like raised like with each other a little bit, you know, like when your friend gets a puppy and you go over and like love on them and they have them for the rest of their life. And the dog's name was Toffee. And like he was adorable. I actually knew this dog as well. And so we're like, okay, cool. My brother's girlfriend brought a dowser with her, which is like, I don't even know how to explain it.
A dowser, it was originally used to find like underground water sources, but it then became like a tool for divination. So basically you ask it yes, no questions, and based on the expression that it shows you, it's like a yes or no, basically.
Okay, well, yeah, she did that, which was pretty neat to see, I guess. And wait, no, where was I? Okay, we reached the actual point, and there was nothing like really weird there. There was like this weird, actually there was. Wait, when we get to the point, there was this strange stick pyramid. Like someone had built like a weird little sculpture thing, which was not what we were looking for. So we took the dowser out and we asked if it was an animal, and we narrowed it down, trying to figure out if it was this dog Toffee coming to see us or something. And we asked finally, like, is this where you're buried? And it said pretty strongly no. And we said, okay, are you buried very close by? And it said yes. So we're like, okay, let's try and see if, you know, we can use the dowser to locate exactly where the dog is buried. We didn't know where exactly it was buried, but we wanted to try and see if we could find it. So I start walking, and like literally 30 seconds away, I see this plaque, and it was Toffee's grave, the plaque that was placed there when they buried her. And we didn't even know this dog had a plaque in the woods for it. And it was like such a weird moment. Like we were just standing there. And well, I don't really I'm not like a huge believer in ghosts or anything like that, and I don't even but it was still so much fun.
I want to explain though, because like the reason I bring up Randonautica is because the people who actually created Randonautica are occultists, and the whole point of the platform is to bring people out of the spectacle and into the real world and make them have mimetic experiences in real life. So it's basically, the way it works is that it's like a quantum computer that basically generates like perfectly random numbers, which are then put to a point on the map. And then you're supposed to sort of express an intention of what it is that you want to find that's going to teach you something about yourself or your life. It's kind of similar to the tarot, but like a real life sort of archetypal mimetic experience in that regard. So there's an element of synchronicity. And the thing that I think is genius about it is that it takes people outside with a shared purpose to find meaning and to find, and when you go outside, you see these symbols and these synchronicities because you're looking for them, and they come to you, and it's like having this sort of mimetic experience in life. And my in real life, and my point, and me and Jake are definitely going to do a Randonautica adventure soon. I've been trying to convince him, but he keeps thinking they're going to sell our data if we download the app.
Nice.
To like,
is like, it's sweet that you say that, because like the next day my brother had to go into work, and I don't really know his girlfriend very well, but we decided to like go out together and try and see if there was anything cool, and her point led us to this like beautiful like secret garden, and we were just exploring it together, and like I fell in front of her, and like we had like a really sweet day together, even though like, and we were like looking for the things that like we thought that we would see, like spooky things, and you know, it was. It
depends on your consciousness and your intent. Like if you go out with the intention, or if you have like a dark sort of mimetic kind of experience, it's supposed to reflect what is going on within you. And if you have like a positive experience, it's like you sort of superimpose your own darkness onto a situation in the same way that people sort of superimpose their own psychological darkness onto memes. So you really see what you're supposed to see when you do the adventure. And yeah, the people who created the app, the designers, they're occultists, and they specifically did this because they were sort of trying to create a beautiful meme. And because memes can also be real life, like behaviors that people do, this sort of group sync kind of behavior that bought something positive rather than bought something negative. And it's almost situationist. And I think it's like interesting as well, because it actually takes people outside, but not for the purpose of like chasing down fake digital Pokemon or whatever. Yeah. It's actually like an enriching experience, which I think
forces you to literally try to receive the world as it is.
Exactly. And also pay attention to it too, and find these like really interesting synchronicities.